2v2 that someone actually requested of us, and it was basically the JCP fam, which, if you know what I mean, you know that I mean the original fam. Elite Units of America, Just the Tip, Kicking Butt, and me, Scott. And as you can see, we are playing on Lodi. Me and Elite both went the British, while our opponents, KB and Just the Tip, both went Prussia. And this battle's going to start out kind of slow, mainly due to the fact that they kind of position over here in this area and don't attack us, and Elite kind of sits on the hill for a bit while assisting me down in the valley, and I had to kind of march all this way through this open field, and we kind of get nothing done. So it's literally just us marching, gaining ground for no apparent reason. But anyway, I'll fast forward this because it's going to be a second until it's fully set up. And this is my army, this is Elite's, as I just said, so yeah. Let's actually see what we brought. Okay, I brought 2 Lightfoot, 2 rifles, 4 fencibles, 2 foot guards, 5 foot, 1 general, 1 10th hussar, 1 15th hussar, and 2 light dragoons, who kind of, as you can see, I set them up to kind of just go around and flank, because when we originally started, I thought we would be battling in the town, and I forgot to tell Elite's army. He's bringing 2 rifles, 2 foot, 1 2 3 fencibles, general, foot guard, and then all that gibberish. But anyway, yeah, we're just going to let this fast forward. And as you can see, if you notice, I'm setting up my armies where my fencibles are in front, because I kind of want them to cover the men behind them until we kind of get set up, because I want to make sure my ranged is protected with bodies until my rifles are ready to pop out and finally shoot, which won't be until we get about here on the field. So yeah, and when it starts, I think I'll be able to see their armies, and I'll just say what theirs are, if it will go by faster. There we go. Okay, let's see what they brought. Okay, I can't see much of KB's, but the stuff I see so far is, of course, 2 foot guard, which this one, he'll lose early on, and you'll see when. I'll show you when. Then he has these 3 musketeers, this hussar, his general. Tip over here, he has a hussar, 2 musketeers, landwehr, musketeer, foot guard, musketeer, lancers, freikorps, and general staff. So yeah, it's just the basic gibberish. And first thing I kind of do is begin just moving up my army to hit the town, because I'm thinking this is about to be an intense fight for the town. As I recall, I actually moved these men to set up right here, because then I realized, oh, KB's actually just going to set up on the side of the river. And I thought I was going to have to do a whole river battle, and I kind of thank him for not doing that, because that would have been awful. Second off, I kind of started flanking. As I said, I was going to try to operate and flank. He said he saw him, and I really didn't care if he saw him or not. They were just supposed to be more of an intimidation tactic, and to secure this hill right here, just in case, because these guys could dismount and fire if they wanted to, which is good, and would be definitely useful. Also, as you can see, his whole army, this wasn't actually supposed to happen, this right here. Elite was actually planning to help set up on this part in the valley, but he realized KB's actually just crossing, and he's like, Scott, you can handle it, which is why I moved him here, and this kind of all starts moving around to refix itself to be able to combat KB in the valley. So he just sends all his forces up on the hill, which, as you can see, he secured, which it's actually not that really hard to secure, surprisingly, if you spawn on this side, because you're just right there. So you just have to climb up this little scoop. Tip's like, no, I'm not going to even try. So he decided to dig in on his hill, which was probably the brightest move. And when this battle begins, you're going to see no action come from this side at all. This hillside is going to be the quiet zone of the front. It's going to be this valley where the battle kicks off and where it mostly happens. It'll start, I think, mostly right here, and then it'll kind of transfer. Sorry for that, a rude guest actually just popped in my room and without knocking, and, you know, I kind of don't like it when he does that, but just have to deal with it. So I'm just going to fast forward it because nothing much really happens. I mean, Elite's going to set up on this hill. He doesn't try anything, which, I mean, he probably could have done something since he was just marching the whole time, but then Elite be ready. I'm reforming literally my whole army. I just march these 2 units because well, run them at this point, but I find it useless to test it. KB sends all his forces across the river, but he then sends them back after. He sends a foot guard back after he notices my cav, which I think will come soon. He mainly put his hussars there because he thought I was going to just march and be that risky, considering it was fencibles and rifles, and they would get butchered attacking that column of calves. So I was like, nah. So I just sat there and waited until I formed up with everything, and then I kind of had to remove. I think I began. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I started putting them into a new formation. I sent the foot guards over here because I wanted them to secure this point. And this point right here was literally super bloody. I mean, it was basically his elites versus mine. In the end, the British won because it was a shootout, and we all know the British shootouts are OP as crap. So, in the end, KB's foot kind of got demolished just because of that. As you can see, as I said, nothing much is going to happen over here for a while. They kind of just set up on the hill and sit up and wait it out. KB decides to move up a little because he sees I'm being slow. Usually I call him slow, but I was the one who's being slow. What else is there? Yep, he starts forming up. This is when, as I was saying, he was getting his foot guard ready. He actually just mounted on right there because I really sat them down, but then he saw I was doing nothing with them, so he decided to just move them up. Our light battle doesn't begin just yet, but they move up their forces where they'll be able to secure a point. Problem is, he allows me to get this forest, which gives me a little tree cover just in case when we're fighting, which really benefits later on, and I'm proud that he gave that. I also had to rush these two up, because, I mean, I didn't want to lose this whole flank right here. I think, as I recall, I moved actually just one little brigade and one little brigade on both parts. That way I could use them instead of just clumping them up and wasting the resources they are. We move up. We get right here. He's still out of range, so we're like, okay, we're good. I forget when he actually started engaging, but that's when it got intense. I'm just gonna start marching it. I really don't know what he's doing with his cav. He just keeps moving around back and forth throughout this little area. I mean, that's all I saw him doing. I mean, I didn't know what to really do about that. I was just like, okay. I'm just gonna fast forward again, because I mean, I got nothing much to talk about until the action comes in. I mean, except that my foot guards are columned up right here. My men are ready. I mean, Tip moves his two lancers because he sees no use in them. Nothing much for now. Oh, here's when he sends his foot guards. I dismount these men because I saw his foot guard and I was like, no. And I actually was able to catch his foot guard out of square. So this one I was able to charge it. And this one I was able to move it up on the hill, and he wasn't paying attention to this one that was dismounted. So I charged him. And then while they were in melee, I was able to form up these guys and fire volleys upon him. Eventually he kind of started getting close and like he wanted to fire at me, and so I literally marched and shot at him, And I kind of started noticing the tactic that most people do that stops the screaming, which is just don't even click on the charge, because that'll affect the noise. Just set them up behind, and then when you get close, press the button, because then you'll be too close for them to even notice, and that's the problem. Right here is when he starts begin firing on my men. At this point, as you can see, my rifles are set up, and I'm ready to begin a skirmish with them, and which just develops into complete and utter death for both sides. He charges. I was able to get some volleys off of his cav, but I mean, he did get a little close for comfort. I decided since he was doing that, I'm just going to move the defensibles to set up a little defense line to slow down his cav. They do their job. I kind of get my rifles out of there, start forming square everywhere. 10th Hussars and 15th are doing their job. This is when I get the charge on him, because he's more paying attention over here. I didn't quite yet move these light dragoons up, which was probably stupid of me, but I mean, I lost these 2 cav, but in the process I killed this foot guard, which really helped me a lot, because if I still had those foot guards, if he still had those foot guards later on, I would have been screwed. Also, by this point, Tip's cav, his cav is kind of just getting killed everywhere. I mean, there's really no use for his cav at this point. I mean, it did his job. It kind of confused me for the center. My men, as you can see, can do nothing with these cav charges except shoot, which is what they do. So they do their job. Elite notices after my cry for help, and because one, he noticed what was going on, he was thinking, oh, I'm gonna break, and which I was. I was kind of a little in shock after all that cav coming in. That's Tip's cav. So he sent his lights and his line to kind of hit on the side from the slopes, and it worked. But I was able to reform, luckily, and continue firing volley after volley on his men. His men start looking like they want to come shoot me after me shooting my volleys, so I decided to run back to my horses, because I was like, oh god, this is not good. So I'm just running. He actually, if he had actually shot at me, he would have broke me, but instead he decided to chase me down. And Tip kind of yelled at him when I kind of got on my horses. He was like, dude, I was watching that the whole time. You could have just shot him, and you would kill him. He's like, I know. But if he had shot me, I would have lost this whole unit, which probably would have been his best move. I mean, I was barely able to escape. This is when he kind of finally realized, oh, I could shoot him. But by then, I was able to get on my horseback. I think he got a volley off, but it didn't kill really anything. I can't remember. Or it did kill something. Oh, this one he finished square. Yeah.
Our men are running.
Yeah, he killed a guy. It didn't do that much. This is when me and Elite have to fight from the hillside. I have my 10th Hussars. He has his Invincibles. We just kind of have to form up and do all this. My Invincibles do their job. I send them. I just have them assist anywhere they can. My foot do their job. This is when we kind of counteract that chaos he caused upon me and kind of try to stop it, as you can see. Like, see, right here. I charged his square to buy time. I just moved up this foot right behind this Invincible. So, while yes, this guy took bullets, as you can see, he only lost 2 units. This man was taking all the bullets. So I was able to just move up right behind and kind of use him as a barrier. His cav broke, but we were talking about this and complaining and bickering the whole time. His cav unit that was able to
Our men are running, sir.
Bought so much time and took forever to break. It was the most exciting moment. Also, KB kind of got confused and wasn't paying attention, so I kind of got cav charge on his foot guard, and this is when the death of this foot guard happens and the death of this light dragoon. As you can see, as I said, nothing's gonna happen really. Like, there'll be a skirmish right here, but it's from this fight, this whole giant mess, which is just costing us all. My lines start breaking here, but they did their jobs.
Our men are running, sir.
I wasn't mad at all. By then, we already had troops set up, ready to hold. So I was just shooting at whatever I could. I really didn't care at this point. This is when the chaos happens. He kills my cav, I killed his men. This was like his lowest point right here. but he was able to, in the end, win. Well, not win, but this is when we were like, oh god, who's gonna win? And in the
Our
end,
men
it was
are
just
running,
a draw.
sir.
As I said, he kind of starts trying to hit this side really hard. So I start preparing by using my foot, my light foot, to kind of combat him. And they do their job. They kill a lot of his men right over here. Kind of break him. As you can see, he was using this musketeer's cannon fodder since it was about to break, so he could get this man up. And it worked, of course. But it broke really quickly, so I just told my men to readjust their fire soon, and kind of told them to aim at the Prussian Fusiliers instead. And that kind of costed him. At this point, I kind of ran out of him, I was like, no. And then I turned around and charged again. And he couldn't do anything, because he couldn't form square. So they kind of stopped, which made me mad. And then I think they were able to shoot me. Yeah, they were able to shoot me. And that's kind of what costed me this fight against him. Because I could have... I don't know why they stopped, actually. But it costed us both, so... whatever.
The men are fatigued, sir.
I lost
Must
2
rest.
dragoons, which would be useless later on. And, he lost a foot guard, which cost him a good amount. See, he broke him, but this guy he just wavers and breaks. Right here, I have my foot just, taking the meat, the fight, the bullets, while this foot guard's back here just chillaxing, just ready to kind of form up and take the place of this foot when it dies out, which is when he kind of has to send his aid. As you can see, I'm just going to say overall, I mean, look at this. The casualties were a mass. He was able to get several charges on me at the beginning, which broke my center, but it was mostly fencibles I lost, so it really didn't matter. All my foot were still alive by that point. All my lights were not that extremely damaged. Maybe half or over or less than half were damaged. But besides that, all he really damaged was my fencibles, so that's why I was able to retain such a line and hold. Which is why I kind of was proud of this setup I made. And I know it's used by a lot of people, but I was pretty proud of it. I was actually glad I used it, because it was able to counteract his whole cav charge, which usually would be useful and most likely break my center, because every time that we play, it kind of does break my center. But at this point, it really did nothing. So I was like, okay, this is fine with me. This side, it was a meat grinder for both of us right here. For the center, it was mostly light battle, but it was mostly light infantry shooting each other and then stray bullets hitting. But in the end, we kind of cost each other on that. We ran out of ammo, so we literally had no lights. By this point, it was basically useless to have them for us. As you can see, Tip and Elite did not move, so I mean, well, except for Elite and a few of Tip's units that actually came to help. Elite and Tip did get in an argument saying why wouldn't one of each other attack each other, and Elite was like, I did attack. I attacked from the hill. You did nothing. He's like, I sent a unit or two. Tip did send a unit or two, but so did Elite. And Elite sent probably more units to assist me, because he lost a good amount of cav just to assist me. And I was thankful that he did that, and didn't, say anything against it. Yeah. As you can see right here, this is when I charged him. I was just trying to, break him, but then I noticed his men were starting to charge me, so I was like,
our
if
men
you're
are
gonna try
running,
to charge
sir.
my unit, I'm just gonna break you. So I broke it. And then it was the Fusiliers I had to worry about. As you can see, this whole side was basically useless. I lost 2 cav and he lost a foot. In the end, I consider that a win-win because, well, those 2 light dragoons probably cost about the same as that foot, and the foot would have been very useful for this side of the fight for all the intensity that happened on this fight. I mean, this foot guard and my other foot guard literally, well, actually it was this foot guard really, that really took the meat of the fight and had to, how would I put it, it took a lot of the bullets, and so, I mean, it was literally out of ammo by the end of the round, but it had so many kills just from as many units as it fought over here. It was literally wiping units off the face of the map, but it came at a heavy toll. So that foot would have been useful if he had won this side and had noticed my 2 cav that continuously charged him, and if he formed square, he would have wrecked him. And then he would have been able to flank me right here and shoot me from the side of the river. That would have been very useful for him, but in the end, it didn't happen. And, well, I didn't use it as a victory point either to try to strategize and invade or something, because, I mean, what was the point? He still had units back here. The whole fighting was right here, so it would have been so useless to even use this side. So, in the end, it was kind of good that both of us broke there, because in the end, it was useless for me, but it would have not been useless for him, because I was literally right here at the river's edge. So, he would have been able to use that. See, his volleys, he's able to inflict damage right off the bat, but once the British elites begin firing, they kind of start winning. As you can see, look, 100 to his 87. I literally start knocking him down. He doesn't even have a chance against these foot. Like, I'm actually suppressing his fire, because I was, see, he's only killed 100, well now 97, but in that time, I was able to kill about 40 men out of 1 unit, and he killed 6, while I killed 40. I mean, that's very extreme. Also at this point, as you can see, I kind of sent my fencibles back over here that actually I noticed back here that came back. And I sent my other foot guard because I was like, oh, he's sitting an 8, and I kind of don't want to use this one because I probably might need it later on. So I'm going to send fresher units to the fight, and which I did, and which was probably my best move. As you can see, the center is still a shootout, but we're both almost out of ammo, so it kind of cost us. Tip's sending units because I think he was planning to do another push, and Elite kind of had to reform to combat this, but in the end, I don't think really nothing extreme again happened from Tip and them. I think at this point, this is when Tip was like, no, pull back, and he did. Yeah, this is when he said pull back, I think.
One of our units has
like,
used
no,
all its ammunition, sir.
Tip was getting pretty mad at this point. He was like, no, pull back. We're not fighting anymore. We're just gonna hold our hill. When in reality, it was kind of both sides who did the attacking, but he kind of blamed, saying we were doing all the attacking. When, if you look at it, look at all the charges that we did against him. I mean, they only got 1 charge off on us, 1 major front charge, and it was right here, which did nothing, while ours did something and cut down men and bought time. So he kind of bickered and said he was attacking the whole time, which he wasn't. So, and he was getting, but he was mostly mad that Elite was camping on the hill. But I mean, look, in return, he was camping on a hill too. So both sides were to blame in this. As I recall, this is Elite's light infantry because all mine is basically dead, and he sends them over to kind of help skirmish, and I kind of thank him for that because it really does help me buy time. I'm gonna fast forward a little. Just another big shootout. This is when they try another front, actually. I don't think I was, I wasn't in this front as much as the others. We didn't really try anything because we both took heavy losses, and he didn't try anything on this side because there's a fencible and 2 foot guards ready. I'd just charge him right there. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna charge, then he's gonna be right behind. But I think this is when they pull back. Yeah. Yep. See, they pull back, and this one I'm like, no, I'm good. I ain't gonna chase you down. So they kind of just fall back. This is when the whole fallback happens, and this is where the next battle will happen. The extreme part, the last fight for our part of the battle. Seems Tip kind of tried to buy time with this land war, which he did. It bought serious time, but its bullets, as you can see, are being suppressed, and it was slaughtered. So free kills, basically. This is when I sent units over. I sent a foot guard, my 10th Hussars, and a foot, because I was like, well, let's try using this, because I thought he would occupy right here, and I could try do an invasion, but, I mean, no one's that stupid. So, he of course pulled back and tried to reform. This was, in my opinion, our first major pyrrhic victory, but it costed both sides. So the reason I consider it a victory, though, is because we were the ones who had gained ground, while they kind of did not, instead fell back. Tib, this is when he really starts to fortify the hill.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
Shush. He finds it useless to kind of continue fighting an opponent who's going to sit on the hill, and Elite realizes that, and in the end, it kind of just becomes another bloodbath. And, well, I'm not going to reveal who won, because, I mean, it's pretty intense to who won. I mean, spoiling it after this long, bloody fight would be useless. And the scary thing is when you get battles like these where it's literally friends who have played a lot of battles with each other, is you know each other's tactics, and you kind of are fighting an opponent who really knows you and is good and will put up a fight. And that's what happened. I mean, it was just blood everywhere, because it wasn't like some of the usual battles you see on our channel with Elite and them, like, crushing the enemy, like a heroic victory because the opponent was, you know, retarded or something, or had bricks that were its computer. I mean, these are literally people who play with each other and know each other's game, know what they most likely will bring, know what they'll most likely do. I think I was the only one here that actually tried a new setup this time, because this setup I never have used, ever. This was my first battle that I used it, so I was bringing something new to the battle, which is why they weren't as easily able to break my center. Usually, when I play, I don't bring militia, because I'm one of those people who finds them useless. After this battle, I've really found them to be good as, sorry to say, cannon fodder, because they really are. I mean, they're not really meant to pack a punch. They're really just meant to stand there and get shot at while the rest of your army survives and gets to fight another day. Your militia's there to get shot. So that new strategy I kind of used was very intense for me. But it also helped, you know, keep my whole army alive when they did that cav charge at the beginning. And also, I feel another reason the cav charge kind of happened is because they saw as fencibles and lights, but also because I'm known for not really forming square to cav charges, because I'm not the best at microing, and I don't pay attention that well. So, that kind of happens. And, well, yeah, I didn't pay attention, but I was able to form squares because the whole front line was fencibles trying to just stall the charges, which they did. Here was more of a light fight. Elite's kicking his butt somehow, even though, as you can tell by this angle, I don't know how you're going to hit any of those targets, the majority of those targets, but, you know, the British, they hit anything, basically. So Tib kind of takes some cost there. Nothing really happens at this point, except his columns begin to move down and kind of take over KB's spot, and they're going to kind of fight fencible to his musketeers, and these fencibles that Elite sent really do stall and buy time and kind of put damage on these musketeers. So, I mean, in the end, win-win. It's just going to be a skirmish for a bit. I mean, this is the first real major action that I see of Tip and Elite, just a skirmish. I mean, Elite was trying to test the waters. As you can see, he brought his 10th Hussars, who killed literally 2 men, and that's it. No, 5. So, nothing much. At this point, I also decide, yeah, it's time to push. Try to do something, because, I mean, he's really not going to move. Also, we did try and shoot his 8th when they were right here, close to the edge of the water, and I typed it to Elite, but he noticed and he moved. He didn't notice the typing, he noticed it, like, after a little bit of it sitting there, like, right there on the edge, he kind of moved. So, we never got to really do that plan, but if it did happen, it would have been probably a really interesting plan. Oh my god. Just another useless unit that's meant to be there. Funny thing is, these 3 lights, I think only one of them actually had any to little to none ammunition. The rest were literally out of ammo, and I just used them as cannon fodder because I still had these lines that, as you can see, I could have used, and I did. I had these units that were crossing the river. I kind of had to form them up quickly because there was a foot coming. And of course, I've also become more known for using the
Our men are running,
telling
sir.
them to fire at the certain unit recently. It's really become useful, so I'm proud of that. I set these 2 units back because I'll let the fencibles and rifles buy time. So you can see they really do. Cab was able to get across. I told them to target. We're just going to try to kill as many 8th as we can. It was a gruesome fight. They get slaughtered, but I had to send over my other foot guard to assist. Fencibles are taking the bullets like always, sadly. It's just this skirmish.
One of our units has used all its
more than
ammunition,
skirmish,
sir.
but whatever. My 10th Hussars are out of ammo, and I finally just tell them to charge this 8th life because I kind of want to get my foot guards up so I can be able to target him, and it works, and I can start butchering his 8th. As you can see, most of Elite's and Tip's army has not even seen action. They're mostly 120 stacks. I mean, nothing's been really lost. While as you look over here, you see all these little bodies everywhere, pelted on the ground because all the fighting. I began to move up to try to start fire, which I do, and I start killing a really good amount of his 8th. I tried to get another cab charge right back on them to make sure they die or slow them down, which they did. They kind of formed square again, so I was able to continue bombarding them with bullets, which costed them. We kind of just sit here and fight it out. I don't even know how this unit held out against Tip. I mean, he was shooting over here, he was shooting over there. I don't even know what he was shooting at. But over here, I was able to cut him down to 76 with a 110. He's going to tear on me from there, though. I kind of just reformed to say, okay, you fire here, you fire there. Because I wanted to really win this. I didn't want his 8th to be able to do any damage to me. And these 2 units were his 2 units that really held out the majority of the game and actually were able to fight. As you can see, he was able to get a solid volley off, but I was able to return that with a flavor, and we kind of just had a shootout. But as you can see in the shootout, I was winning because it was literally me shooting mass volleys, but this unit was pinning me too, so I wasn't in the end. This unit took too much damage, so I kind of had to pull him out, and he charged his general, which also peeved me off, because he was doing something I've been doing to him the whole time, which cost him his foot guard here. So he was like, I'm just going to get revenge, so, you know, what's the only thing you can do? Oh, form square, because, I mean, you don't want to die.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
I mean, so I did form square. This unit I charged at one point, I can't remember when. I tried shooting at his general. I was able to kill a good amount of his men. I pulled back because I was like, okay, too costly. He was starting to outnumber me, so I was like, I'm not going to fight a fight if I'm outnumbered. So this foot guard kind of gets to, you know, shoot for a bit. And it does. It does its job. These guys charge, they get into melee. He charges everywhere, basically. Just trying to stall and allow my units to get time. He falls back because he's like, okay, no. So as you can see, the first victory is kind of happening and appearing because KB's army is collapsing, but in the process I have no army. So I'm just trying to do something to finish off the job.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
But at this point, it's mainly just, it's elite into skirmishing. Not skirmishing, battling it out in lines and stuff. But yeah, this is probably, I think this is one of the last things I did actually, was that charge. After that, it was more of just, oh, you're there. And I was able, and Elite was able to literally shoot this unit to death.
Our men are running, sir.
Both sides, of course, thought they would lose. We all did think we'd lose because this was intense the whole time. One of the very few games you'll ever see. Joking, if it's a 2v2 with the fam, it's literally intense all day long. So that was happening the whole time. And I basically send these two to kind of just shoot up the foot guard, because if I'm going to kill it, I'm going to kill it right now. And that's what I want to do. And also, I thought if these units were able to survive, I'd be able to, you know, try and help Elite in the back. And which, I don't know, I can't explain it because I don't want to. Not because I can't, but because I didn't want to. I don't want to because I want you to experience who wins. As it looks like at this point, it kind of looks like Tip's winning. I mean, Elite's troops are breaking everywhere down here. I mean,
one of our units has used
like
all its ammunition, sir.
Of the British Army is about to happen, and it literally is. I mean, we are being crushed from everywhere. We couldn't handle it, so I mean, we're just like, fine. His general breaks, but he gets away, so we're just like, well, that's great. So I just charge his 8th, kill them. Just like, if we're gonna finish off a unit, we're gonna finish off these guys, get them out of the way, and we do that happily. Everything dies. I think, yeah, there we go. And at this point, Tip's kind of like getting ready to encircle us. And Elite kind of stops trying to fight everywhere on the ground because he's taking 2 heavy losses to fight, and it's costed him the whole time. I mean, Tip's literally gained the advantage, and that's what happens when Tip says we aren't attacking and Elite attacks, and this is what happens to Elite. This is why it kind of gets annoying when someone says, oh, we've been attacking the whole time, and you haven't. And then when you look at the replay, you see actually they were attacking, and they took heavy losses because they tried attacking you. So it really made me mad. I kind of chased down his general because I was like, nah, these units are useless I have, so I'm just going to charge them into something. And just kind of charge all around. But this buys time for Elite to reform, happily. So, because he's having to pull off units to worry about these freaking 3 units behind him. Which, I mean, would be a pain to deal with. But, you know, it happens. Ooh. I mean, this
Our men are running,
tries
sir.
to do whatever he can to hold out. These foot guards, I just charge them. I see no use. They get slaughtered in the process, but they have no ammo, so what else would I do with them? I was like, they're done. They're done. So I just charge them in, and Elite Tip just kills them with his foot, his guards, which to me sounds like revenge for all the guards I killed over here. And let's look at it. I mean, look, this is where it began, right here.
Our men are running, sir.
This is where it ended, with all the bodies. Actually, it ended right here. But, I mean, I was able to push from, yeah, let's get a more better perspective. See, I started over here, in this area. I was able to push. I thought there would be a city fight. There wasn't. Fought here. Got here. And then I kind of curved around. If I had more units, I would have been able to distract Tip and help Elite, but I wasn't. This literally was our doom, and at this point I kind of went AFK, so I just ran my general over this way, and it is just weird. But, I mean, it literally looks like our defeat, and it basically was. I mean, if you look at it, Tip was, I mean, I don't think he was overconfident because he knew Elite still had pretty solid line still, but, I mean, he was also probably thinking, oh, we still have lights. So, I mean, he had advantages that we didn't at this point, and we kind of were starting to think probably this would be a defeat slash maybe not, and in the end it was not a defeat-ish, it was more of we just slaughtered each other. Because, I mean, we were defeated, basically. I took 2 heavy losses trying to take KB, and in the process we just killed each other, so basically, for the whole battle, that was useless. We just killed each other off. And then it was more. This is the battle.
The men are fatigued, sir, and must rest a
while. 2
while.
armies that were out in the middle of nowhere and randomly killed each other off when they could have been useful somewhere else. Yeah, that's what happened here. By a lot. This is when I got back and I was realizing, okay, I'm just gonna send him to assist, maybe give some moral support, give morale and all that, which he does. And also, we kind of wanted to use him as cav charges, since he was the only type of cav unit that was out here on the battlefield. And this is one of Elite's last pushes, but it's also one of Tip's last pushes. So we kind of just get ready for a fight. As you can see, his Invincibles are taking the bullets first, so no foul there, no losses. I mean, it's bodies. It's all you want is throw as many bodies as you can out in the battlefield. So, I mean, Elite does that right there. So, I mean, it's just constant. But Elite's able to kind of hold his ground. And I really think these lights have no ammo. Me and Tip were kind of having a little discussion. And I was like, dude, your lights have to be out of ammo. He's like, no, they have a little. I was like, dude, they have to be out of ammo. Because, as you can see, they were. I mean, they were useless. They were just men that were sitting there looking like they had ammo, but they didn't. Because, you know, if they did have ammo, they wouldn't have allowed units to get that close. At this point, of course, Elite's trying to drag him from the hillside so I can charge him. And it works. So I charge him, get into his lights, start causing trouble. My general, of course, gets killed in the process, but that wasn't a surprise, really. I didn't notice I toppled over all these men. But I was able to distract him. And at this point, I give one last rally, because I was like, I'm charging to die, so I was like, rally, and then died. He just formed square, but, you know, distraction. Oh, I didn't even notice there were stakes there. I didn't even notice that in the game.
Sir, your general has been killed.
See,
This is a black day.
I don't know what he's doing with his. I think he was getting ready to use them for charges. And this was getting pretty gruesome and costly. But Tip still has these foot guards, which kind of worries me, of course, even though I'm not the one still playing. But Elite still has a 120 foot guard, so I was like, okay. I think he just charges them, and it'd be cannon fodder, basically. I kind of tried to warn him. He knew they were charging, but whatever. And this is when it really starts looking more like a victory for us, because as you can see, Tip has a lot more units than us, but they're all damaged in a way, except for that one. Elite still has 120, 120, 102. That's way more men than these 4 combined. Way more. So, I mean, it was kind of an advantage, and we started just breaking off his units down here. Well, get, and his mass volleys kind of started crushing them as well, so in the end we just started breaking them all over. This guy's gonna do anything? No? Okay. So it's just, you know, fighting and fighting and fighting. But seriously, during the whole game, we really didn't know who would win. This was like more of a, oh god, both sides are taking super heavy losses. Both sides are having teammates who are not engaging anywhere except for down at the bottom. I didn't even know. Oh, I think it was his own men that shot him. I don't even think it was this unit because they weren't even looking at him being charged. So I really think it was this unit that kind of who kind of shot him probably. That's my idea. I think they believe that too. I don't know, but I think he was shot by his own men. So this is when Tip kind of realizes, oh, well, Elite's winning, and yeah, he was. There was too much line infantry against him, not on his favor. So yeah, Elite was able to pull off a victory after all this. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm just popping out an idea. Wouldn't that be nice if one day you're just an adventurer coming to explore the world, and then you look over the countryside and you see all those bodies, and you're like, oh, that's nice. I mean, that'd be an interesting sight to see. His last units taking their final breath as Tip is defeated. The joint operation of the British Army, of elite units of America and Scots, win in the end, when we literally lost one of our armies. After this general dies, we'll see who killed the most and all that. His general breaks them, but he's just gonna charge them, because no point. But I think his general gets away too. Or, no, he didn't. Yeah, he did. He got away. Okay, so as you can see, from our team, Elite deployed 1,818 men. He lost 1,215 men. He killed 1,260 men. So, positive score. Nothing bad. Me, I deployed the exact same army, basically, as Elite. Just a little different. But I had 1,818 men. I lost 1,560, but I killed 1,555. As you can see, the highest amount of kills on the thing, on the list. KB, he deployed 1,878, and he took 1,582 losses and killed 1,258. Tip deployed the same amount as us, lost 1,446 and killed 1,236. So as you can see, I killed the most. Elite was the only one to get a positive score. But it was, I mean, it was not. It was just very even on the majority of us. The best unit of my army was a foot guard, which killed 240 men. 248 men. Now this unit, I know you can't see it barely, but it was a unit who started out here in this part and started skirmishing and killing off all those units, and it was the one who finally helped kill off the last 8 this way. So I mean, it was a foot guard who had been in the whole battle. My other one, yes, killed a lot, but it took more losses, and it wasn't the one who saw the action. It was this one. He killed so many men, and I was proud of him, and I was glad he did it. Also, there was my foot, and let me see my highest ranking defensible. Wow, killed 40 men. I'm actually proud of that, surprisingly. Well, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you join our channel of JCP Randomness Films, and I hope you go to the Steam group, which now exists, has been existing for I think the past week or two. That will be in the link. The link will be in the description below for that. Also, a link to the YouTube channel. If you don't want to click that, I'm joking. That won't be there because all you have to do is click the little art button, our little avatar picture. but who cares? Some people are that weird. Like, comment, and subscribe, and goodbye.